Since February 2018, the crack team consisting of an old hipster, a rookie, and Tyrod Taylor's biggest fan record from a secret location in the heart of Scotland. Their aim is to try and dissect all things NFL. If you want their opinion, and if you can find them, this is the American Fitbaw Cast.
See, Andrew's laughing at me already because I've just sat there and paused for 10 seconds, just totally blank. As soon as the microphone went on, I was like, how do I start these things again? and of course, it would have been welcome, but I've already messed that one up. So hey, let's go. I'm about 6 for 6 on messing up the intro. Never mind. Anyway, hello everyone. You can hear there are two of us. There is a voice missing. A certain Gav is not with us. Hiding away.
You were going to say no longer with us. That's a bit grim.
It's a bit, yeah.
We presume he'll be back next week.
We'll see. Yeah, it's not like he got the sack or anything. Unlike his team's manager, looks like he's about to.
Quarterback repeatedly.
Yeah, broken leg. He's not off with a broken leg. He is not going out to replace Mark Sanchez. Yeah, so no Gav. Anyway, what are we going to talk about this week?
We're going to talk about the NFL, mate.
Because we actually started this yesterday.
This is
not as a 2-day recording. Don't panic.
This is our third take of episode 27.
Technical difficulties.
Yes, some technical difficulties yesterday.
We had 2 attempts yesterday. Total deja-vu, because I'm going to say the same things for about the first 20 minutes that we talked about yesterday, and I'm going to be like, I have no idea whether I've said this or not now. So. Anyway, so what we're going to blather about this time. So London games got, the 5 home teams for the National Series got announced.
Yes.
So we'll chat about them for a bit. Poor John DeFilippo. I'm going to blather about him.
Is that how you pronounce his name, or is it John DeFilippo?
Oh my god, I can't deal with that. You asked me this yesterday. It's going to mess my head up so much. What did we say? It was John Filippo. I don't know, I actually genuinely don't know. And then I said something really stupid like, we can phone him seeing as he's got nothing else to do at the minute.
Yes.
See if he wants to come on the show. And then just some of the nonsense that happened in week 14. Albeit we're now on Friday and week 15's technically already started, which is going to confuse me somewhat. It's
and we can
Friday stuff. Jeez.
Probably talk a bit about last night. In fact, we're going to go to the London games.
Yes.
And I think the reverse of that fixture from last night will be the game that goes to Mexico next year. So you've got the Chargers the Chargers are one of the 5 home teams. You've got the Chargers, the Rams, the Raiders, the Jags, and Tampa.
Yep.
So the Buccaneers, to remain consistent in the way that I called them off.
You are not worthy of getting your nickname as your animal or whatever. You're just getting your city.
Yes. So with the Chiefs were due to go to Mexico last year. Or this year to play the Rams. I suspect because that was cancelled, they might actually take the Chiefs against the Chargers down to Mexico. And obviously with the Chargers having hosted 2 years in a row, they were in London last year. Probably their turn to go to Mexico. So which would give you the Rams, the Raiders, the Bucks, and the Jags as home teams.
Yep.
In London.
So Jags makes sense because we've got them on retaining contract every year for the last 7, I think now, maybe
something
6
like that,
or maybe next. And we've got them for at least another 3 or 4
yep.
guaranteed. Oakland, we had them this year, did we not?
They were yes, and the 2 years previously they played in Mexico.
Yes.
So they have played an international series every year.
Yep.
And they're still homeless next year, is that right?
I don't know what the update on that is, but yeah, they officially the contract in the Coliseum runs out this January, but they can't move to Vegas for 2020.
Yeah.
So they have next year where it's not been confirmed where they're going to play, but I'm sure they'll renew the Coliseum for another year. I think the Coliseum would be stupid not to. I don't think they're going to dig in there.
Put them down to Santa Clara maybe and share with the
49ers. God, can you imagine the bloodbath there? they're forever stabbing each other.
It's
It's like a running battle of fighting. You don't put the same fans in the same place unless you just deliberately alternate the schedule every
as
Sunday.
it stands, the Oakland Raiders play closer to San Francisco than the San Francisco 49ers do at the moment.
Yeah, which is a tad odd.
Because Oakland is like directly across the bay, whereas Santa Clara's way up the bay. It's not even close.
Yeah. Well. So yeah, that's our 5 teams. You had a sneaky feeling.
So
on
there
one
are
of the
three.
set of
There are
games.
3 teams
Yeah.
yet to have played in London, and
Yes.
they are the Packers, Panthers, and Texans.
Yes.
The Panthers and Texans are both definitely on the Bucks' schedule for next year. There is potential that the Packers will be as well, because they both look set
both
to
currently
finish
set
third.
third in their divisions.
Yes. So there's the potential that actually the Bucks are playing all 3 of them next year. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them host one of the 3 teams that haven't played in London previously.
I think it's a slam dunk, to be honest.
Yeah.
The rate they're going at.
And then beyond that, I think the Packers are due to play the Raiders as well.
We did say that. So they've got 2 chances to be over.
Yep, and there's 2. They are actually 2 well-supported franchises over here.
Yes.
So that would be a massive game to bring to the UK as well.
Yep.
Other than that,
Huge.
yeah.
Other than that, they're quite keen on divisional matchups. They normally swing them over. So
maybe the Rams 49ers might be something they bring over, because Seattle were here this year.
49ers haven't been over since
Cardinals were here
2011
last
or
year.
something.
Yeah, Niners haven't been here for a while, so maybe the Rams Niners is something that comes
Bears
over.
haven't been over for a while. Patriots have been a few years out. They tend to go on about a 3-year cycle because they're massively supported in the UK. So there's lots of room. It could be bloody anybody. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, But yeah, that's 5. Oh, dear me. Well, can't even talk to him. That's the 5. That's the 5 home teams. Anyway, we're going to get 4 of them, and Andrew is pinning his bets on the Chargers being. Also because they hosted this year in London, they hosted the top.
Yes, I would suspect
that
the Chargers are heavy favourite to go into Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Right. So, on to John DeFilippo. Filippo. What are we deciding on now? I say Filippo.
Well, yesterday you started with Filippo, changed to
Did I change
Filippo.
it?
You started
Did
this
I flip
episode,
flop?
you Philippe flopped.
Oh, what a rubbish joke. House wrath for the dad jokes. Yes.
Joke wrath.
Joke wrath. No, come on. I can't. I'm not worthy of being called joke wrath. He got the can.
He did, and as you reminded me earlier on, this is a man who was part of the Super Bowl winning coaching setup last year.
Yeah.
With the Eagles.
Yep. 4 days after the last season finished, he got signed up by the Vikings as their offensive coordinator. Then they got Cousins. I'm sure he would have been part of the conversations with that, and all would have, everything seemed to be planned and it makes sense. And then, was it 12 games into the season? Boom, bye bye, sitting at 6-6.
6-6, so they're at 0.5. It's a very Jeff Fisher record, that.
7-9. just below parity.
Kirk Cousins' record on Monday night is now 0-7. His record in primetime games is, what did you say?
Something like 5-18.
Something
it's
mad.
Awful.
So he's an early starter. Is Kirk Cousins? He likes to play in the early games.
Was it you suggested yesterday that he wake up later in the day?
Yeah, if he's playing in prime time, just sleep till 4:30 in the afternoon.
That'll work. Yeah. So their season was a bit topsy-turvy. So they were, by game 4 they were 1-2-1. So they already lost a couple of games early in the season. They then won 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
So going great guns. They had the bye week and they've lost 3 out of 4 since. So they beat the Packers 2 weeks ago, and you can them.
This is an offensive coordinator that schemed Adam Thielen to
8 consecutive 100-yard games.
Yeah,
to start the
tied.
season. No, it was the record. I'm sure 7 was the tie and 8 was his.
It was I think it was a record to start the season. It wasn't an overall record. It was a joint
span seasons.
or even within a season.
Yeah. But the record to start the season. Apologies. Yes,
but he tied Megatron for the overall.
Megatron. He was a player. Have you seen much of Megatron? You
No,
probably haven't.
nothing
He was
at
all
all.
prior to. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to. He must be eligible for Cannon next year. I think he's nearly been about.
What's the
5 years
criteria?
out.
Is it 5 years
Just
after
5 years
retiring?
out,
Is
yeah,
it?
as long as you're out of the league for 5 years, you're eligible for nomination. I think he gets nominated. He's certainly going to be in the semi-finalist list on his first time. Whether he gets in on first attempt, don't quite know, but it's not going to take him long.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I don't really know what's happened with poor Filippo.
So, do you think it was harsh?
Absolutely, considering where they were in the season. Had the season already been lost, a la, say, Green Bay, right?
Yep.
That makes no harm in making that change now to give someone else a few weeks. It really,
Give them
really
eyes
matter.
on the offense and see what they've got to work in
Bingo.
going into next year.
Absolutely, yeah. But they're right in the thick of it. They're currently still in the 6th place, tied with a few other teams, and it looks like Seattle's wrapped up the 5th place.
Yep.
Anyway,
They're two games ahead with 3 games to play.
Yeah, so
Can't see them not being in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's all in on that 6th spot. I didn't see the game against Seattle, but there was a lot of rumblings that it was one of the worst offensive outputs that people had. I think that was the words that I had read. They didn't get their touchdown until right late in the game.
Yep,
I think,
right in the 4th quarter.
And the game was 21-7, so they scored 10 points against the Patriots the week before, and then in fact were nearly shut out this week against the Seahawks. So if you look at just those 2 games in microcosm, and then if they're convinced that it, obviously the organisation will know more than us, and if Zimmer's sitting there and he's looking at Filippo all the way through the game and he's doing nothing, he's not making any changes, there's no, he's probably sitting there going like, right, this guy's lost something, game over. I need to make the change now because there's no way that we're going to hit the playoffs at the rate we're going at over the last couple of weeks. So that could make sense. A lot of the things that there's a couple of things that were going against him though. The O-line play wasn't great all season. They don't really have a running back to help. It literally is all Cousins and the Whiteys.
They do have very strong wide receiver core though, with Thielen and Diggs.
Yes.
You look across the league and there's maybe only 4 or 5 other teams that have got as solid a receiver core as they've got.
Oh, the Deja-vu is absolutely doing my head in. I'm sure you said this yesterday. You did, and I tried to then do my old ranking thing that I'll normally fail at and promptly just shut up.
So we decided that the Steelers with AB and Juju.
Yep.
The Falcons with, albeit it's Julio, and then there's a bit of a drop off to the
Sanu
rookies.
and Ridley.
Sanu and Ridley.
But they have the potential a year from now, 2 years from now, for it comes on.
Team actually didn't mention at that point in our recording that you've never heard. It was the Bengals, AJ Green, then Tyler Boyd, because Tyler Boyd's really stepped up this year.
He has, absolutely.
Albeit Green's been injured latterly.
Yeah.
Even the Giants.
Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard, but even Ingram at tight end. But it depends if you go. I suppose we're just talking about wide receiver, of course, so let's disregard the tight end position because that's going to dilute it an awful lot. Because then you can start throwing in Kansas City and whatever, into the mix, regardless of who they're
the Colts or whatever.
Yeah, because the way they play is a little bit different.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. So I fired up a poll on Twitter after it happened and just said, do you think Jingy should have been fired, yes or no? It's fairly simple as that. 70% said yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming a lot of them would have been Vikings fans rather than just random people going, I'm just going to say yes anyway because I don't know nothing about this guy. So it's fairly cut and dry with what people feel so far. So, and then if they make the playoffs now, it's the right call. And if they don't, then that's the only thing you can possibly pin against Zimmer and what is arguably slowly descending into a lost season anyway. Because before the season started, I think we had all picked them for the division champs.
Yes, I think so.
Possibly Gav would have picked the Packers because he fanboys Roger's son Chronic.
Yeah.
Like he's going to marry him. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then I think I certainly had them tops. I'm sure I had them repeating because I thought I couldn't think they'd done anything wrong in the off season.
Yeah, and they'd upgraded a quarterback.
Which was the only potential question mark last year. What it said. So for me it was a bit of a no-brainer because I didn't expect the Bears to be as good as they were. I expected a bit of a bounce, a small improvement. We had this. They were at least a year away.
I do remember the discussion we had is that we had this division split in two.
Yeah, perfectly.
All three of us agreed that this was going to be. It was going to be the Vikings and the Packers were going to fight it out for the top spot.
Yes.
And you were going to have the Bears and the Lions.
Yeah.
And as the season started, it became a sort of three, with the Bears joining the other two. And actually what's happened is the Bears have just disappeared.
Yeah.
You've got then a step back to the Vikings, and then a step back to the other two, really.
Yeah. Because actually both the Packers and the Lions now have the same wins.
Do they?
I think the tie puts the Packers ahead, but actually the win column, I'm sure they're the same.
It's a clear drop-off to the other two. Packers have got 5 wins and the Lions have got
5. Yeah, it's
5 as well.
5 and 7 and 1 versus 5 and 8. So it's only the tie against the Vikings.
So the Packers are half a win ahead. But actually, they're actually only a win behind the Vikes.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So arguably, they're still technically only 1 win out from hitting the playoffs still. So because that NFC is now, I said this on pre-season, and it's very difficult to kind of. If you look at the numbers and the wins, you think it looks like the AFC is stronger than the NFC, but actually it's because of that.
It's everyone takes wins off everyone else.
Yeah, so that 6th place is going to be a.
But can you argue that when the NFC has got the Cardinals, the 49ers, the Giants, the Redskins, they're 4 absolute garbage teams.
Yeah. And I think
even the Falcons have been garbage this year as well.
Yeah.
But it's 5 garbage teams.
It's looking at it so if you look at the playoff picture on NFL.com, this is where it becomes, in my head, a little bit more apparent very quickly about the strength and depth in the two divisions, because on the AFC side you've got more teams that are already eliminated than the NFC side.
Yep.
So in the NFC, you've only got the 49ers and the Cardinals that are officially out of it now.
Yep.
Arguably, anyone else could, if results go the way, including the Falcons at only 4 wins, could still make the postseason. Crazy as it sounds, they could get in at 7 and 9.
Well, they're 2 games back with 3 to play.
Yeah. If you win out and other results go your way, you can get in on 7 and 9.
Yeah.
You're not going to get in on the AFC side on 7 and 9
because 7 is already the mark.
7's already the mark. You've already got so many teams that are so bad. Other teams are going to pick up wins. So does that make sense?
Yeah, there is 5 teams in the AFC with 7 wins.
Yeah, already. And then they fall off, and then Raiders, Jets, Jags, and Bills are already out of it.
5 teams with 7, and then another 4 with better than that. So there are 9 teams.
So Jets, Jags, and Bills at 4 and 9. If they were in the NFC, they still could get in.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Still on the hunt on the other side.
There's a small pocket of really good teams that can destroy everyone else so quickly. They already tie up all the playoff positions, but then over in the NFC, other than the Saints and Rams that have already locked in not only their playoff place but their divisions as well by now, everyone else is, because they're a couple of games back. Do you know? Interesting.
And they could actually, if results went their way, i.e. the Bears lost and the Saints and Rams both won, they would secure the first round buys this weekend.
Sunday, unless anyone's playing Monday, but yes, this weekend coming up.
Or Saturday, because there is
so
much.
8
games on
TV.
Half the league is on TV in the UK this weekend.
Oh, happy days. Makes me want to not be working. That would be nice. Or have kids, puppies, or anything else that gets in the way.
Yeah,
I could just move my body clock for a week. It'd be great.
Yeah, just
stay up, watch,
vegetate in front of the NFL for the full weekend.
Crisps. Yeah, give me all the
wings and ribs and
You thinking ahead of Super Bowl Sunday already?
Yeah.
Right, so we did just kind of touch on some of the results that could be happening this weekend. Let's just jump back to last weekend then.
So we've spoken about the surprise package of this season being the Bears.
Yes.
And they beat the Rams.
They did.
The weekend.
Quite comfortably as well, not in terms of score, but in terms of just the defensive performance against them.
Yeah.
Was just, 4 interceptions of Goff, which ties his career high.
So I watched the BBC's NFL show yesterday. I had it recorded and watched that, and actually the key thing that the Bears did so well, the safeties were able to disguise until the point that communication with the quarterback's cut off. So it's 20 seconds before the snap. I think the coaches can no longer speak to the quarterback. They were able to disguise in position whether it was going to be a cover 2 or cover 4 that they were playing, and so often it looked like even until the ball was snapped, it was going to be the other, and then it flipped. So the first interception that Goff threw, it looked like it was going to be a cover 4. It was a cover 2. So the safeties stepped up, picked him off. Second time, it looked like they were going to step up into a cover 2. They changed it to a cover 4, and he tried to play to a cover 2, and it was interception again. And I think the Lions had done something really similar against them. And as the point was made that it is a copycat league, so once one team sees that that's your weakness, and basically what they're doing is that McVay is obviously he's a great offensive mind. Jared Goff isn't at the moment, and by doing that you're making Jared Goff make the decision rather than Sean McVay. He's making the wrong decisions and he's getting picked off.
And this is where I think we briefly talked about last week, the fact that the Rams bizarrely are trending what you would feel is the wrong way at the wrong time of the season. So
yeah, I mean they started off like a train.
Yeah, 2-3 weeks ago I would have still had them taking the first place in the conference and home field advantage. Regardless of how well the Saints were doing, I still thought the Rams were going to, particularly when they went to that Monday night game against the Chiefs and threw up 54 points and some just lunacy. It was like, it doesn't matter. They're just going to absolutely outscore the hell out of everybody. And in the last couple of weeks, it almost feels like the wheels have come off. But as you say, somebody's eventually spotted something and they've figured out how to fix it. And it's not scheming against McVay. Well, technically it is, I suppose. It's just holding off and waiting.
And making Goff make the decisions.
Yes.
Another thing that the Bears did fantastically well was eliminate Aaron Donald. I don't think there's any doubt that Aaron Donald is the best defensive player in the NFL at the moment.
If he doesn't win Defensive Player of the Year, I'll be absolutely gobsmacked. First couple of games, you could have made the argument Khalil Mack was going to be doing it because he was sacked and forced fumbles every game. He was disrupting. He was absolutely taking over. And then he kind of had his sore ankle. He was out for a week, bye week, whatever, and just cooled off a bit. And he's still up there. But Donald has just gone on the last 4 or 5 weeks before this week against the Bears anyway. He just went on a tear of sacks. He got like 10 sacks in 5 weeks or something. Yeah, just taking the mick. From his position, he's like 16.5 sacks or something, leading the league. It was just nonsense what he was throwing up. Yeah, so he should still win it no matter.
Oh, I agree, and I don't think there's much doubt that he is the best out there at the moment. But yeah, the Bears just worked out a system to stop him getting to the quarterback, whether that was the centre helping out, whether that was actually the running back coming through and helping out, rather than trying to make a running back just going straight in and blocking Donald, which is normally something you would see your tight ends doing or whatever. You don't often see a running back piling in and actually helping with the blocking. So yeah, that really seemed to work, and it's 15-6 the score. Was it all in field goals? 9 points in the third quarter. Was that 3?
I don't know that. 3-3s would not make sense. Yeah, field goal. Yeah, it looks like all field goals. Or was it just a touchdown without a converted?
No, it was a touchdown and a safety. That's what it was. I am certain from watching the highlights back now. But yeah, good win for the Bears there.
Talking about good wins for teams, how about the down in Miami?
Wow. Wow.
I'm surprised we've actually gone like 24 minutes without mentioning it now, considering our
play of the season.
Our joint hatred of the Patriots. Let's be honest.
Play of the season.
Oh,
as Kev pointed out on the Twitter to us, there's no way we can't talk about this.
It's amazing. Most games end up in a stupid lateral at the end, just because.
So, position was Miami were on their own 40-ish yard line.
Yes.
There was 7 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill had hurt his shoulder.
Yep.
There was no way he was ever throwing a Hail Mary.
Yep.
The Patriots put Gronk in the backfield to deal with the Hail Marys that they felt was inevitable, but it was never going to happen.
Yep.
He put in a short-ish pass, 20 yards or so, he passed it up to about halfway. A lateral.
Was it Stills caught it first?
Stills caught
it to Drake. There was a third person who was involved.
Drake got it on the end.
Somebody else got it.
Lateraled it to someone else. Lateraled it to Drake, who got it on Miami's 47.
Yeah.
And he weaved in and out, and then he got to the end and he was one-on-one with Gronk, and we thought, whoa. And Gronk's going to just take him out, and then he stumbled.
And you're like, oh my god!
And that just gave Drake the half a yard, and he got in.
And I was just like, what have I just witnessed? Amazing.
If anyone hasn't seen the play, which if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't seen the play, then I'd be shocked, because everyone's seen this play.
You must do.
But
it was recreated in 8-bit form.
Yes, I saw that.
Amazing. Rubbish Gronk falling over.
So it's instantly been dubbed the Miami Miracle.
Yes.
And
quite right.
Yes.
Quite right. I mean, the fact they put them to 7 wins. So first of all, New England didn't wrap up the division.
Yeah.
Because if New England won, they were locked in for division winners yet again for 10th season in a row or something absolute nonsense.
Something
like that.
Crazy like that.
So it stopped that from happening, which was a good shout. Miami are well in the thick of it. They are one of those teams that are on 7-6 with 4 or 5 that are still in the hunt.
Yep. They're 2 back from the Patriots with 3 to play. So the Patriots are still going to win that division.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Bills and Jets are on 4 each in that division.
Yes, they're out of it already. They're just all. Yeah. Speaking of the Bills, though.
Speaking of the Bills,
Josh Allen.
He went by a record this weekend, didn't he?
He did. Please elaborate the listeners as to what. I've got that totally wrong again, haven't I? Anyway, carry on.
Inform the listeners.
Yes, you tell them what you told me.
The record is that in the first 8 games as starting quarterback, Josh Allen has rushed for 464 yards, which beats Michael Vick's record of 418. Now, he isn't going to hold on to this record for very long, because there is a starting quarterback across in Baltimore, or down in Baltimore if you're in Buffalo.
Down in a bit to the west.
Yeah. Who in 4 starts has amassed 332 yards. So Lamar Jackson is going to smash it by about 200 yards.
He's going to get it in. He could potentially do it in 5 games, but he will definitely do it in 6.
Yeah, I would think so.
So with 2 clear games to play, just because they're playing a totally different brand of football than entire drives where quarterbacks and running backs are running. There's no passes there.
Yeah, Jackson is a running back that occasionally throws it.
Basically, yes. Yeah, he basically is. It's ridiculous. What did I do? 8 fumbles though. So that's a bit of a slight issue.
That's on Jackson.
Just Jackson.
That's on Jackson. Yeah. So yes, ball security is clearly a bit of an issue for him, but he'll improve that over time.
Oh, yeah. It's still fun to see, and they're also one of those teams that are 7-6.
They are 7-6.
Yeah, so
they are only half a game behind in their division, because obviously the Steelers are leading that division on 7-5-1, and then you've got both the Browns and Bengals on 5 wins as well, 5-7-1, then 5-8.
Yeah, so all could mathematically still get in.
Yes,
you wouldn't fancy the Bengals to get anywhere near. They're just falling to bits.
And I think the Browns waited too long to get rid of Jackson to actually stand a chance against the playoffs this year.
Yeah, which is really, what Williams has done there is almost unreal. He's got more wins in his first 4 starts than Jackson had in nearly 2.5 seasons. It's just unreal.
Yeah.
So when I did that stat a few weeks ago, when I said you have to go back about 6 years for Cleveland to get the total amount of wins needed that McVay already had in his season and a bit.
Yeah.
It just shows you how futile they've been as an organisation.
Yeah.
But going quite well. Could still win the division, which would be a little bit of a stretch, but not out of it. It's still nice.
Who do you think wins the AFC North?
At the moment, actually, it's Baltimore that are trending the right way, and they have because there's this point in the season where it's defense in the running game that helps you through, because the weather sets in and it goes a little bit against the quarterbacks, and January football, as they always call it, or playoff football, is the more well built you are as a running team with a really solid defense, you actually have a better chance. The best example I can give you of that is Titans last year. Even with Malarkey, who got the punt, they still won their wildcard game with their smash mouth football, wasn't it? They called it, which was just, we're going to run the ball on you 60% of the time, no questions asked, and their defense is really good. And then that's how they managed to get in and do well last year. Baltimore are very similar this year, I would say, in setup. But I suppose the slight difference that Baltimore have this year to certainly the last couple of years, they've massively upgraded the wide receiver corps, which is helped by Crabtree, and I've forgotten everyone else now. But this side, Willie Snead, Crabtree, and they brought a third one in. John Brown from Cardiff, no?
Yes. Yeah, I always get him confused. There's John Brown and Jerome Brown, and one went there and the other one went to Seattle. Yeah,
I think it was John Brown that went to the Ravens. But then gave Flacco some weapons. Flacco started off a lot better, statistically, than he had in several years. Flacco gets injured, hence why Jackson is now in as the starter. It was by default. It wasn't. They made the change partway through the season.
Yep.
What interestingly has happened though is that they're sticking with Jackson, even though Flacco could be back this weekend.
But they don't think he would be fit to start. They think he'll be back on the active roster, and he might even take some snaps, but I don't think he'll be fit to start.
I've got you right. So it's not quite yet. So it's whether they change it in the next 2 weeks is going to be really interesting.
I think they would be daft to.
I totally think so. Do you think though that it's Ozzie Newsom's last year, right, as GM? Okay, not that he gets a lot of input really. He helps build the roster and craft it. So, and it is very much Harbaugh does the day to day. Do you think, as stupid as it sounds, just because I'm just going to throw the question out there, do you think that they think, right, we're coming up to January football, remember what Flacco did in 2012 when he just blew the wind out in playoffs? We need Flacco to play like that again. Let's put him back in. He is absolute clutch playoff quarterback. Does nostalgia take over too much?
That was half a decade ago.
Oh no, I get it.
More than half a decade ago.
The answer is no,
and he hasn't shown it since.
Yeah, absolutely.
So no, you can't. I think
you shouldn't. If Lamar Jackson keeps fumbling at the rate he's going at, does that force their hand?
Possibly.
And then you've got a big problem.
You do.
If
he does
to do well in the playoffs, but you've got that flip-flop quarterback problem, which is undone many a team.
Yeah,
it's undone Tampa Bay this year.
The issue that you've got there is that actually the style that Lamar Jackson brings wins you games in the playoffs, but he loses you games in the playoffs from fumbling. So
pick your poison,
you'll get better security from Flacco.
Yep.
But
he knows when to throw the ball away.
Yes, yeah. So I mean, he's not going to turn the ball over as much, but is he actually going to grind down a defense and just get you first down, and get you there? Is the
emergence of Gus Edwards the answer?
Possibly,
because he's up till a couple of weeks ago.
But is he more effective because they don't know if he's running or Jackson's running?
Bingo. Yeah. There's so many questions to this. It's unreal. Love the fact we're debating it though. Talking about running backs that were grinding down teams.
And Tennessee Titans run game.
Oh yeah, the smash mouth football. This is what smash mouth football should have been for Malarkey. Derek Henry.
Well, I mean, this guy hasn't done much since he came in the league, really, if we're being honest.
You know what he's done? He's fucked my fantasy season year after year after year. This is the third year in a row I've drafted him.
So I saw a great tweet the other day in that someone's going to be looking at Henry's overall fantasy stats for the year and thinking he's worthy of a 4th round pick again next year.
Off one game.
Yeah. So this is the guy that came out of college as a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yep.
Obviously huge potential was seen from him at this point.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head, but if he wasn't the first running back taken off the board, he wouldn't have been any worse than second, third. He was definitely drafted to be the guy. He's got a frame on him which was almost unheard of for a running back.
Looks more like a lineman.
Linebacker, yeah. So, but however, runs tall, and that's what they're saying is part of the problem with him in the early years. And the defenses it's easier to catch him because he's so much bigger.
Yeah,
and he's not like these. I want to say small, jinky running backs.
Yeah,
that's why they can sneak through almost.
Yeah,
because they've got better agility. But Henry then tees off for 238 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yes,
including a 99-yarder, which equals the NFL record.
Yeah, because you literally can't get longer than 99 yards.
Because you don't measure it in half yards. It's just it's 99 or it's a return at the end zone. There is nothing else.
So you can't do that as a rushing.
He will have that for all time now.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry will have an NFL record for all time. I can't even compute that sentence.
But you can tell a guy's had just a ludicrous game when he runs in a 56-yard touchdown and it isn't talked about.
Just unreal.
But that 99-yard touchdown, I mean...
it was reminiscent of Marshawn Lynch.
It was just... Wow.
Just absolutely...
Just stiff arm everyone.
Boys, it was
come get me. Sit down, child.
Get out of my way.
Yeah, wild.
That's good effort.
And he had a career game, really. He's never likely to top that, either in yardage or number of touchdowns. Never mind both.
I doubt it. How many 4 touchdown games or better have running backs had? You mean they're you won a season maybe?
Yeah.
You know me. Yeah. Doug Martin got one. Interestingly, at Tampa Bay, that was about 4 years ago. And he's been able to get a couple of years extra contracts.
That one game.
And actually, not annoyingly, it's fair play on him. Henry has got himself more time in the league now off the back of this. Yeah, so I reckon there was a very good argument before last Thursday's game that he wasn't that if he gets kept on next year, it's still very much running back to it's very much limited reps. But they wouldn't be thinking about re-upping him in any decent length of, not if he holds out for decent money. I don't think he was going to get it.
Yeah.
And but now he might.
Yeah. After that game, that was just.
If they play him, but then that's always been the argument with Derrick Henry, and and Tennessee have never done it to the full extent. He's the type of guy you have to give him the ball. You have to actually give him a couple of games where he gets that 15 to 20 reps.
Yeah.
Break him in, because he's so big. He can smash down a defense early in the game. Now he might only get 2, 3, 4 yard runs very early in the game, but that constant booming, because the size he is. See, when you get to the fourth quarter, defense is like, oh god, not this guy again.
Yeah.
And that's when he starts breaking out 10-yarders, 15-yarders and whatnot. That's the way I feel he should be played. And he never has, because he's been so hit and miss. Previously they'll be like, oh, he's got a couple of 1 yard, 2 yard runs. All right, let's give the ball to Dion Lewis or DeMarco Murray. It was before. Who you get why they wanted him to be the number one guy, because they paid him like the number one guy, so you've got to give him the carries, and it's just like Jesus Christ.
Yep.
So Henry's had a lot going against him. Whether this is the turn of it, and he then for the next couple of weeks knuckles down, gets on with it, and that's him. He's entrenched as running back one now.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good for Tennessee if he does. I think it helps Mariota very much so. If Henry's taking a lot of the at the point of attack, all the tackles and the abuse. Anyway, we're not talking about that.
Let's talk about abuse. Let's talk about
Steelers being abused.
I was more going to go about what the Giants did to the Redskins, because that was proper abuse.
That was taking the mic. That is the reason why Gav is not here.
Yes.
He just couldn't cope with it. They got destroyed.
Another running back performance
Yeah,
from
good old
Saquon.
Saquon.
So Saquon now has 13 touchdowns on the year, which is the
Yep.
most by a rookie for the Giants.
Yep.
In their franchise history.
He's got about 7 or 8 Giants records already for rookies. He's
Yeah.
he's putting together a season. If he doesn't get Offensive Player of the Year, I'll eat a hat. Like,
Offensive Rookie of the Year.
is that
or
what I said?
overall player.
No, rookie. Go on,
Who's
steady.
your Offensive Player of the Year?
Well, what did I say about the
After
other two?
week 8, it was Todd Gurley.
Oh, it was a no-brainer. It was Todd Gurley until depends whether they will do this annoying thing where MVP will be a quarterback and then they will give another quarterback the Offensive Rookie of the Year or not. They've shied away from this the last couple of years. They kind of very much split them into 2 categories. So quarterbacks are all in for the MVP race because no one else is allowed to win the MVP. And that's bullshit. Give Aaron Donald the MVP and just absolutely blow it all to shit. And then offensive
Player of the Year, yeah.
So, well, Andrew Luck's will come back Player of the Year.
Yes.
Right up, so let's not worry about that. So he doesn't need to be in consideration for anything else. It's Pat Mahomes. Well, unless he gets MVP. Why would you not give him MVP? Do you know what? Actually. And to a lesser extent, Phil Rivers. But Drew Brees has put together, Drew
Brees MVP and
So-
Pat Mahomes as Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, because it's almost like the Drew Brees one. He gets it for service as much as anything else. I mean, he's going to have the highest completion percentage ever recorded, and his touchdown interception ratio is going to be right up there, one of the best ever ones on paper. But he's never won the league MVP yet. I don't think even the year that he got to the Super Bowl.
He got Super Bowl MVP, but I don't.
Yeah, but I think Manning got league MVP that year for what he did with the Colts to get him in. I think. Now, where am I going with this? Oh yeah, but because of what Mahomes has done so much, I think
It's so explosive.
Yeah, I think you can't not look. You almost feel you've got to give him some reward at the end of this season. He's already in 4,500 yards right now. 4,000 yards is the benchmark for a quarterback. 5 is the new. That's an amazing season.
Yeah.
He's already in 4,500. He's got 2 weeks to go. He's already got 45 touchdowns, which is already the joint 6th best ever recorded, and could get over the 50 mark, which is unheralded.
Yeah, there's one or two have done that.
I had the numbers
Brady
still
had.
on it.
Is Brady's best season a 50
I still
season?
have it. So yes. So Manning has 55, who is the record, and Brady has 50. That's the only two that have hit 50.
Yep.
Mahomes is on target for 51. So he will go into second place all time.
Yep.
In his first full season.
His first season as
Because I don't think it
quarterback.
really counts last year. Doesn't really count.
Well, he only came in week.
Couple of garbage plays. You know what I mean? And the last game of the season, possibly?
Yeah, and then Smith was back in for the playoffs.
Bingo.
So,
Yeah. Hasn't really had anything except one really good off-season to work with everything, and then the team that will help him out. But some of the stuff he's done is ridiculous. So what did he do on Sunday?
Oh, the no-look pass. That's just wild.
If you haven't seen... So the no-look pass, when I watched it live and on repeat, when they were showing the camera angle from behind
Let me just...
looks lunacy.
For a second, the no-look pass when we first saw it in soccer, when Ronaldinho did it and looking the other way, but he knows where the guy is and he knows there's a load of space. Mahomes has to throw this to someone's hands. It's not like he can just play it 10 yards in front and the guy will run onto it. He has to put it on a sixpence. And he was looking to the right of the field and threw it at the left touchline.
Even speaking about it sounds ridiculous.
It changes the game.
If he can do that consistently, it just makes him even more dangerous.
They talk about how you can throw a safety off just using your eyes.
Yeah.
Because you've got to look where you're passing the ball.
Yes.
If you can just pass the ball where you're not looking, the safeties stand no chance. They're never going to get anywhere near him.
Oh, they don't. It's just lunacy.
Doesn't matter where he's looking, you put it the opposite way.
It was the camera angle face on from Mahomes that was even more ridiculous. So when the game was happening live, we all seen it from behind, and I was like, this is just unreal. on Twitter when I seen the reverse angle where someone had caught him like basically running towards the camera and then just flinging it sideways. I just cannot comprehend.
Giving the stare to his receiver on the right and playing it to his receiver on the left.
Wow, just wow. I mean, that is a right up there in plays of the season, easy. Just from what he was able to do. I mean, I know you get little things like Tyreek Hill will do some mental 50-yard run where, like when he did against Dallas last year, where he ran like 100 yards to get through like basically the entire team and score the touchdown.
Yeah.
You get awesome stuff like that happens. But this is different. This is
week in, week out as well. He's doing crazy stuff. Yeah. This guy is Aaron Rodgers level plus maybe even a little bit more.
Do you know what? You can't argue against it based on what he's done so far. I cannot wait to see what sort of stuff he throws up over the next couple of seasons, and if 3 seasons from now we're already talking about him being in that, when he gets to Canton, the conversation is going to be him or Brady, or something crazy like that. It's just that's the trajectory he's on.
They now obviously have a big gap in their backfield offensively. Could you imagine if they just plugged Le'Veon Bell in there?
I thought you were going to go with that. Oh, can you imagine it? I don't know if financially.
I actually think he ends up in Indianapolis.
Bell, but they've got money to throw around. They've got daft money to throw. Them and the Jets are just, they could give him whatever he wants.
Yeah,
he wants $100 million.
And if you've got a choice between those two teams, you're going to go with the Colts.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Because they're set offensively. They're set at everything apart from the run game, as far as I can see.
Yeah. They just everything worked. The draft haul.
They maybe need a second receiver potentially. We've got T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah, Ebron's doing amazing, which is helping that.
Yes.
But I know what you mean. Yeah, if you've got someone else on the other side of Hilton, just to help open up that field just a little bit more, then it's something they can address. It's not 100% needed, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So it came out that the cap's going to go up by another $10 million for the 10th year in a row.
Gav was here. If he hadn't shied away from the abuse he was going to get from his shit ass team, he would have had all the figures. It depends if you can find it quickish. I can't remember where he posted.
But the Colts have got a ludicrous amount.
It's over $100 million of cap space they can play with.
So they have got $123.5 million to play with. So they can throw Le'Veon Bell however much he wants 10 times over.
It is six absolute standout blue chips that you can pay a $20 million year average for. If they wanted to do that, they could do it.
And the next is the Jets, who've got $107 million to play for. Yeah. So basically, they've got one less Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. That's how we measure the cap space. How many Le'Veon?
And then the Bills have got another one less. They're down at $90 million.
So where's the Chiefs on that then?
The Chiefs are bang average. They've got $42.5 million to play for. So they can still enough to do a Le'Veon Bell.
If that's all you're missing,
address something in the backfield. It's the backfield on both sides. Yeah. They need to put something. They need.
It depends why they draft as well. They may draft the answer. If they pick up Lev Bell, they find they don't need to do really anything on offense.
I think Honey Badger goes there after his 1 year stay in Texas.
Could they afford him and you probably could just get away with it.
Yeah, because he hasn't had a standout. I don't think he's not had a huge year for the Texans, so I don't think he's going to get a huge amount.
Was it 19-odd million he was hoping for?
Well, that was what he was going to get in. That's what he was due in Arizona if they kept him.
Right. Yes.
And we ain't paying you that.
No, and I get that.
It was great. It wasn't a franchise tag. It was just an option.
Oh, it was Jesus God!
It was a contract option. Yeah,
lunacy.
So he didn't take the option.
Yeah, I can see that. And that's not the reason.
So he's
got 3 wins. So don't worry. It's not.
No, exactly. Yeah, I know.
There's other issues there.
There's a lot of other issues there. But he only got $6 million. Houston,
$7 million was. Yeah, I don't know if it was fully guaranteed, but a good chunk of it would have been. It would have been as close to that 1 year flyer for $7 million. Because at the time I was calling it, I was like, my God, this could be like the trade of the off season.
Yeah.
Because of who they got versus what they paid for him. It was something else.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him at the Chiefs.
To the Chiefs.
And Bell on the other side of the ball, and that's just wow. So yeah, where were we? This all came from the Giants thumping the Redskins, and we didn't really discuss a huge amount on that.
No, other than not only that, Sanchez did the reverse butt fumble. Did you hear about this? Right, so
was that in this game, or was that or was it the week before?
I just who knows? I just want to talk about it anyway because it's Sanchez and it's good to talk about. So he's infamous for the butt fumble, which is just
Thanksgiving butt fumble.
You must have seen this. It is one of the funniest plays I've ever seen. When he handed the ball off, decided to run pass option, kept it, ran forward straight into the back of his offensive lineman and cleaned himself out. Right, like full blown ran headfirst into this boy's arse. Nearly knocked himself out. Ball went flying. Turnover. Amazing. He then did apparently the reverse.
That's not quite the reverse. In that he did still fumble.
Yeah, but did he not fall?
He basically recovered it by sitting on it.
What a guy!
It's gone full circle.
Oh dear. I wish Gav was here. I can't wait until he's back next week. Do you know what I think? Even if he's back next week, we still have to go back to this game. So.
The other game, the other big upset, the Raiders beat the Steelers.
No, didn't see that coming from a mile off. You know what I mean? All day I would have put money on the Steelers, pipping that one, considering how the Raiders have been playing this season. Amazing one for the Raiders. Scum from West Country. Good old Oakland Raiders.
You combine harvester.
I don't know where the hell that one came from. Sorry, everyone. That's just losing it.
Everyone
goes on.
Everyone. That sounds like we have multiple listeners.
Yeah, we've got loads. All three. No, we got. Yes, tell your friends. Everything is sorted out for a little recording snafus from a few weeks back. It's all good. In the hood.
Who's that aimed at?
I have no idea.
That sounded like a coded message. Right, Raiders Steelers.
No idea what's going on. Yeah, so actually, brilliant one for John Gruden because he has been panned all season. But we'll see how he goes the next 2 weeks. It looks like he's got a plan. He's got a longer term plan. Interestingly, McKenzie got the punt at the weekend, which kind of blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah.
However, that maybe gives more credence to the whole. It was him decided to get rid of Cooper and Mack. For whatever reason, I don't quite know. I'm thinking if I'm John Gruden, you're like, at the beginning of the season, you're like, right, 3 people on my roster I want to keep are Carr, Mack, and Cooper. Right? Yeah. Start with them as the building blocks and build everyone else around them. 2 of them are gone.
And Cooper was outstanding for the Cowboys this weekend.
Something like 210 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns, one of them being the one in overtime to clinch the win. I felt so sorry for the Eagles boy there because he got to the ball first and he didn't have quite enough to get his hands on it and it just bounced up and into Cooper's hands. It's just so unlucky there.
They've got I can't remember what I was going to say. Amari Cooper, he statistically in the last 4 weeks or something leads the league in average yards per game and stuff.
Doesn't surprise me.
It's worked well.
And he's getting the best out of Dak, really.
Yeah.
Which is starting to look like he did 2 years ago.
About 4 episodes ago, Dak done in Dallas.
Yeah.
Because we were banging on about, nice alliteration there. Whoever came up with that, I can't remember. Dak done
sounds
in
like
Dallas.
your
work. I never do any good work on this show. I think that's been firmly established by now. And then, but now you're like, again, he's the answer. Jason Garrett's going to clap for another 3 seasons. It's all good.
Yeah.
Everything's Jerry's going to be sitting there on his throne going, I'm the best damn GM here.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
On GMs, I'm going back, flip-flopping back to the Raiders a bit.
Filippo flopping. That's a shit joke. I'm going to stop saying that now.
Will they bring in another GM or will Gruden do the whole thing like Belichick does up in New England?
Well, they've given him the money to do it, so it depends whether they value either his own scouting prowess or whether he can get people in to help him scout, and they'll just back him all the way. Because I mean, I've already said before, I think they're not giving up on Gruden before at least the first season in Vegas is done. He's going to get 3 years, no questions asked. Right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how bad they are for next season. He's going to get the first season in Vegas anyway, minimum.
Just that, do they give him basically give him so much rope to go? Yeah, actually, not only if have we paid you so much as a head coach, now we're going to take away any other excuses, so that if
it's all on you.
Yeah. If this doesn't work, it's all on you.
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't see. What do I actually think is going to happen? I think they will bring another GM in the off season to help. Whether they bring the GM in on a kind of different level as to what normally happens in organisations. So normally it's you've got the owner, you've got the GM, and then you've got head coach. That's your power vacuum, and then everyone else kind of spilled off to the side. Whether what they do this time is the GM comes in to support Gruden, but the two of them are kind of on the same level. It's established from day dot. You're here to help and advise, but you cannot overrule him.
Yeah.
That in my head is maybe where they would go with it. It's just another person to help him out. It's not all on him. But they probably, if they bring somebody in like that, they'll tie him to Gruden. So as soon as Gruden is gone, for whatever reason, maybe he's not. 20 years from now, he's built up. Everything's worked out. Bingo. But
the Las Vegas Raiders.
The GM will be tied to Gruden, and 3 years from now, if they have to hit the reset, the two of them will go at the same time. That's what I think.
Or they'll trade him to the Bucks.
Again. Oh my God, full circle. We got back to 2002 or whatever year it was. Right, so what we got? A couple of minutes for playoff clinching scenarios for this week.
So
now, interestingly, had we managed to do the recording yesterday, last night's game wouldn't have happened. So
and we would have been saying that the Chiefs could secure a division win with a win against the Chargers, but they didn't.
And Chargers secured a playoff place by beating them.
They did.
So
that was a rather good game from what I've seen. To sound all British. Jolly good.
The quintessential British podcast of the NFLs.
Of the National Football League.
Football? What? Football.
The National Football League.
So yes, they are in,
and the Chargers won this game by going for 2 with seconds left.
Ballsy.
The thing I've been banging on about all season that you shouldn't do, just take it to overtime.
True, yeah. But this one's worked and come off. So.
And it was, that game was a bit of the Williams show, as I said to you earlier.
Because everybody in the Chargers roster, surname seems to be Williams.
It's not just the Chargers.
Phil Rivers and his 6 Williamses.
Yeah. But no, you've got. Why am I looking at week 17? I need to look at week 15. You've got Mike Williams and Terrell Williams.
Yep.
And then, am I right in saying that the Chiefs' running backs are Damien Williams and Darrell Williams?
Oh no, I don't know if I can watch this game. That's going to confuse
so many Williams.
But which Williams is this? So they're. However, still saying that, Kansas City still have their own destiny in their hands. If they win out, they will still win the division based on the two teams. Both teams have the same record now. Both are now in the playoffs. It's just who finishes 1/2 and 5 or which way around it figures out. Will be decided in the next couple of weeks. What we've then got is the Patriots at Pittsburgh. If the Patriots win and Miami lose,
they've sealed it. They've
sealed
their
division. Yeah, as long as they win and Tennessee lose, or Baltimore plus Tennessee and Indianapolis, which is then getting a bit too complex, they can clinch a playoff berth.
What's actually looking likely here is the number 2 seed is actually going to be the number 3 seed from the AFC. Actually, if you think it, so the the actual two best teams with the division, with two best teams by record, are probably going to be the Chiefs and Chargers.
So one will finish at 5 because that's the way it works. Yeah, because the other division.
But actually, they're going to be numbers 1 and 2 in terms of where they would have finished.
Yes,
that sort of just a straight league.
Which there has been arguments about in the last couple of off seasons. It's very tentatively been skipped around. Do they seed it based on record only? And there is no.
You guarantee that by winning your division, you get into the playoffs. But then seeding is purely on record regardless of your wild card.
So if you are the worst of the 4 division winners,
you might go in at wild card round, or what they would have to rename it. But
actually, do you know what? I'm not against that. I'm not against it. So we'll see whatever comes of that. So Patriots win, and they're basically in this week. They need a little bit of help to go their way. They need Miami or Tennessee to lose at the same time, and that'll be them sorted. Boo hiss. Texans, they can win. Oh god, there's a lot of permutations. So if they win and Indianapolis and Tennessee or Miami lose, maybe Pittsburgh as well, then they get into the playoffs. So there's a lot of permutations, but they have the potential to secure something this weekend. Chargers are in. We're all good. So over on NFC side, we have... So Rams win, and they will get the first round bye. As long as there is a Chicago loss. Chicago win the division title, which was lunacy, really. If you think of the beginning of the season where we thought, as long as they win, boom, they've done it. Or if they don't win, but actually Minnesota loses as well.
Yeah.
As long as they don't lose, they will clinch a playoff berth. Basically, if they get a tie as well, they're in. Oh shit, my screen's gone all over the place. Cowboys are going to win the NFC East division if they win. What? What?
Yeah, this.
Yeah. Right, that says more about the division than them. Let's be honest.
It's the NFC least.
Yeah, the least. Yeah, quite right. They are. I think they're going to win. There's no question that they're going to win the division. Whether it's just this week or next week is the unknown.
Yeah.
They're playing Indianapolis this weekend, so at least it's a tough out for them if they're going to win. What was the thing I seen on Twitter? Philly. What is it? There's never been a Super Bowl winner who's had a losing record the next season, and then it's a Philly sign. Hold my beer. Because they are on target.
They're 6-7.
Yeah, that's no good. Seahawks win, and they're in the playoffs, which we had said earlier. They play San Francisco, so you could probably already say that's pretty much.
The Saints and Rams both win, and the Bears lose. Saints and Rams both secure the first round bye.
Yep.
It's already guaranteed that one of them will get it, because two teams cannot get past both of them. There's only the Bears can catch them.
Yeah, sorry.
So therefore, the Saints or the Rams will have a first round bye.
Yes. I know what you mean now. Sorry, I got lost there for a second.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, all good. So that's very skittied round, but that is the potential for whatever happens at the weekend. Well, that'll do us for today. I think
so.
So, a couple of quick shout outs. Thanks to British Bird Gang and Matt King, who's been in touch with the Twitter. It's nice to hear back from people who listen. Or maybe they don't listen, they just like chat us on the Twitter. But it doesn't matter, we'll take it.
Yeah, Matt likes to chat about Redskins, which I don't understand right now, because...
If he does listen, and he knows that well, it's only Gav that's on his corner, he may not chat to us ever again. We'll just maybe edit that very long laugh in the middle. If you want to hear any of the back episodes, there is a centre place where you can get them all quite easy if you don't have, rather than jumping around podcasters of choice. Website fcpod.net/afcast. If you go there, all the episodes are embedded. You can get us on Twitter at the AFcast or on Facebook at the American Fitbaw Cast. Do you know what I wrote down earlier, because I was thinking about this. I was going to say, if there's a podcasting site that you need to that you can't get hold of us on yet, and you need to tell us, let us know. But obviously, if they're listening to this, they would already know where they can find us, and we wouldn't know where people can find us.
So
unless they've tried on their preferred site and wanted to listen to us so much that they've gone over to iTunes or Spotify, in which case, if you've made that effort, we really appreciate it.
That is awesome. Yes, and tell us, because you're absolutely going to get a shout out minimum. But yeah, on the off chance that you're chatting to people and they say, no, I'd only listen to them if they're on Stitcher or Spreaker or Podcast Republic or whatever. If there's any,
we're on all of them.
Yeah, give us I think, whatever. Anything from you?
No, thanks for listening again, and we'll see you next week.
You've been listening to another great podcast from the Fair City Podcast Network, a group dedicated to connecting and developing podcasts. Check out fcpod.net for more great podcasts and content.